Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to Beyond Retro Podcast, the show where we wax nostalgia. What?
When Nathan said it's like he was like you forgot the name of the podcast for a second.
Well, we haven't done this in so long.
I know, but it's like, hey, welcome to Beyond Retro. I was like, forgot for a sec.
Yeah, well, shit, it's been a while.
It's just the way it sounded like that brief frozen in time.
Can I just get through my intro, please?
Yeah. By all means.
Welcome to Beyond Retro Podcast, the show where we wax nostalgic about all of our favorite TV shows, cartoons, comics, whatever, from the 80s and 90s, and in today's case, beyond. Because this is
wax on or wax off.
About some new shit. I'm Nathan Kennedy, joined here by the Rotten Amato, Joe Amato, and the Interrupter, Tyler Baker. Guys, how's it going?
That'd make a great wrestling name, the Interrupter. Yeah. I just come in and cut off people during their promos and stuff like that. Then they get pissed off and flip over the table. This podcast is over.
Could you imagine a gimmick?
Ranting and raving about a straight-to-video Steven Seagal movie. I can't take this shit no more.
Like he's done. And you know what? I'm starting to take to that rotten model thing that you said, Tyler. And reason being is like all the shit that I've been posting lately. I'll sit there and I purposely say fake ad. I'll put it somewhere on something I make where I take one of my customs. And the thing is, I hope people have caught on. Every fake ad has had a faker custom in it. That's why I do it. But I'll put it in there and I'll say fake ad right there in the print with the rest of the stuff. And they'll say, oh my God, look, I didn't know that. Then they find out, like, God damn you, Joe. That was terrible. That was rotten.
On April's Fool's Day, you got threatening, messages to people unfriending you because they thought, I'll show him.
Wait. Let's talk about that again for a second. Because who in their right mind thought that Walmart of all places was going to have a Wonder Bread He-Man for like $4?
And 1 cent, 401.
That's not the world we live in anymore. Like that would easily be $60 plus shipping. I don't understand that. I can't. I feel like Joe's just got like all these magical powers. It's like he can wield a wand and they all follow him, but he can also wield a wand and make people like really believe anything he says or
he's a cult leader.
Whatever.
They're all drinking the Kool-Aid.
You shit. But like I said, I always let them know one way or another, whether it's in the picture and they even say it's fake, and then I'll see it popping in other groups and getting tagged. Somebody's like, I didn't know this is real. And then I get tagged. I wake up in the morning. Exactly. And somebody else posted it. It's not even on. Did you see this? I can't believe I missed it. And then they tag Joe Amato and they come in like, yeah, it's not real. Look on the photo. It says fake ad by Joe Amato. I don't know. God, it shouldn't be that easy. It really should not be that easy. I'm not trying. They know it's a gag, but I guess not everybody does know that.
Hey, come on. He's a good guy. Come on, guys.
I'm a good guy, man. Yeah, that's why. And the thing with the whole movie, the movie news for He-Man, and they get mad when I'm like, you don't have to tag me. And it's one thing I don't like hearing about. I was like, trust me, it won't come out till 2020. No, and they're like, no, it's going to hit 2019. What just popped up recently? Movie delayed to 2020. It's like, oh, was that a surprise? Did you think it was gonna really come out in 2019? It's not gonna be 19, not gonna be 20.
I gotta have it now, Joe.
Yeah, just ain't gonna happen. Not being a negative Nancy, as they say. It's like, no, it's just not going to happen. It's not gonna happen. So that's all. Had to do that side rant on that. It just drives me nuts with that fucking movie. 17 years of rumors. Me and Tyler have heard enough of it.
What's that?
I said, me and Tyler have always heard. We've heard enough of that movie stuff. We've been dealing with it 17 years, so we're tired of that.
Shaming more people tonight on Fans of Power. We can make fun of them again too, and they can, go cry in a bathroom stall somewhere or something like that.
Something. But we're gonna get to something good.
Joe Amato's latest shenanigans and his tomfoolery. We're here to talk about. We always slam all the news stuff because most of it sucks. Well, not today. Today we're
not at all.
Good. Well, I'm assuming. All three of us here. The consensus is we're going to be praising the absolute hell out of season 2's Cobra Kai.
And things come to an end. Go ahead.
And it's going to be in better quality because I think when we talked about season 1, Tyler was at the beach and it was
people walking behind me. And
it was hard to hear you.
Yeah. No distractions here.
This binge watching, obviously, that's something different and new to me, and of course I did it because I wanted to talk about the show this weekend because I would have been the person that would have tried to drag it out and drove you two and everybody insane.
And Talk's taking on that free trial, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. I have to, make sure I let them know, nope, no longer free, get off of that because I got to watch it one more time. But I always hate when it comes to an end because I tried to like every time I watched an episode, I would look at after it was done. I would click at the upper right where it showed next episode, and I would try not to look at the titles and just keep clicking. And of course, when I hit the 10th episode and nothing, I was like, God damn it, because I couldn't remember how many episodes were in this season. It's so addicting. You hate it when it comes to an end.
And we'll get into this way later on this episode because I don't want to just jump right into the ending. But Jesus, like the cliffhanger for this one.
Yeah.
At least with the end of season 1, it left you kind of like on a thing of like, all right, we kind of had like a good stopping point. With this, I'm like, no, you gotta keep going. Why we gotta wait however long now? That's what I don't like. And I know that it's done for that purpose, but it's still like it sucks. I hate that.
Because I'm greedy. I want I want more that quick. You're right. I want it that quickly. It's like a whole year we have to wait. It's like there's 10 episodes per season. I was like, could they speed it up and get it out every 6 months? And I know it won't happen, but I wish it would, because you're right. This one was that cliffhanger. It's like, God damn, now I got to wait another year.
I look at it this way. Like, I mean, look how long it's taken Stranger Things season 3 to come out. Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're very fortunate that YouTube is very good about, okay, green light, let's get going here. And come September, they'll probably start shooting season 3, and we'll have it by next April, at the end of the month or something, or early May. So yeah. It's gonna drive you nuts. It's driving me nuts. I'm on my 3rd watching of season 2 already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's once you watch it again, things get settled in, and you really get excited about because it's overwhelming season 2 with the stories progressing, these new characters, and getting them involved in the story. So it's a lot to take in, but in a good way. It's not overloaded like a shitty Spider-Man 3 or a really bad Marvel movie or some shit like that. Or bad DC movie for that too. I'm not going to just bash. I got to bash both of them here. But you get hungry for all this stuff because these guys do an exceptionally very good job of progressing the story and then weaving in new characters. It doesn't feel like you're taken away from Miguel or Robbie or Sam or Daniel or Johnny or Kreese. Like, I felt like overall everybody's pretty well balanced in the stories and incorporating the new characters.
I'm glad you said that word balance. I was just going to say that they balanced it perfectly, meaning like in the first season of course, we have all these characters, but we're introduced to all the new ones, and it seemed like it was more focused on the kids, the younger generation, while still, of course, acknowledging the older characters and still their little battles, what they had in the past and how they're dealing with it now. But this season felt like it was more focused on the adults with the kids there too. It's like a balance that works. Like first season kids, this season the adults, but still how they do it together, it worked perfectly. It was a great mesh of it. It's honestly something that I wonder how hard it is to make it to where you want to focus to care about just the adults or just the kids, but then bring it into where you're not losing either that might enjoy one over the other. Because I can't picture anybody looking at this thinking that episode was boring or I didn't really like that. I thought they did a perfect job of it.
There's not a weak link episode. Like when we discussed Stranger Things season 2, we all had that one episode with 11 that we just felt like they didn't need that. With this,
when she went out,
there's not a weak episode. Like every episode, it stacks and it stacks and it builds and builds and makes it stronger and more epic. And it's just that's a testament to these guys just knowing how to connect everybody. Where if something affects Miguel, it affects Johnny. So it's like there's a constant, for every action, there's a reaction. And that's kind of how it is with all the characters. Like something that happens to Robbie has an effect on Daniel, or something that happens to Daniel has an effect on Johnny. It keeps everybody involved. Like there's nobody gets shortchanged. Everybody's affected by something big that goes on. I will say this. I think Sam is the culprit for all the shit going on in both seasons. Like,
and that's what I kind of wanted to talk about because, and I'm gonna rewatch season 2, but to me, I felt like it wasn't as strong as season 1, and here's why I think that. I think that a lot of this season is, and we got a lot of it in season 1, and I understand why it's written the way and it carries in, but there's so many times in season 2 where it's just like misunderstanding after misunderstanding. Like the reason that most of this is set in motion with Tori and Sam is because Sam assumes just because she's taking the vodka that she's the one that stole her mom's purse, and it falls in line from that, I think, too. And I'm doing the Amato thing and jumping ahead, but when she gets drunk at the party and Robbie decides to take him to Johnny's place, right? And Daniel tracks the phone, and Johnny knows what happened because he was just told this, but for whatever reason, he decides not to just openly say immediately when Daniel pulls up, like, hey, this is what happened. He's like, for some reason, he's holding it, it like completely contradicts the whole thing. I'm going to be the bigger man. So he's like, I'm going to withhold this information, piss him off, to where he's going to kick the door in. And I'm like, why are they just got drunk and they had a good time. Why are they doing this again?
Well, see, I will give you a counter argument to that, because he says, look, kid, they got drunk. Kids do this kind of stuff. I'm not going to let you in until you calm down.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of feel like, yes, there is that kind of misunderstanding thing that plays up some. But a lot of times I also think about how we, in our world, in our own personal environments, when we see something, like I thought Nathan was an asshole when I first met him, based on his actions. I assumed that because of how he acted. So
a lot of people tell me that. They're like, when I first saw you and met you, I thought you were an asshole, and I was like, wow, that's fair.
Yes,
that's fair.
But that works in the context of the show, that because Tori comes out and says she steals and wouldn't mind stealing more, for Sam to just have the guts say, look, if you stole it, I want it back.
Yeah.
To make that assumption, it's not clear. I know, but I get why you feel that way. Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to argue for you feeling that way, but I think there's legitimacy behind it.
No, there is. There's just a lot of points when I was watching it that I'm like, if someone would have just said something like differently, none of that would have happened, kind of thing,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I just, in a way, it almost felt like they were starting to rely on that a lot. It's like, well, if we just have a misunderstanding here, then it just ramps things up more. And it's not like a huge issue or I had a problem with or anything. I was just like, and maybe that's the point, because every time it happened, I was like, God damn it, why? You were so close to like a resolution and everything being like kind of okay, and it's like, no, it's like Miguel showing up and returning an item. We'll get into that as well.
Uh-huh.
And then Robbie's there, and Miguel ends up being like, he is the good guy when you think about it. And then Robbie's like, oh, no, can't have that. Let me put it in my pocket. What was that? Oh, it was nothing. Ah, damn it. Why? Yeah. Stop.
Yeah, but at least because he doesn't like Miguel. He doesn't know Miguel.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The last time he saw Miguel was at the tournament. Mm-hmm. He hasn't seen him since. So this is the guy that injured my arm and cheated and beat me. So yeah, why would it help this guy out? He hit Sam in front of me. So it's like, if you think about it for a second, I completely get Nathan's thought process on this. Because with last season, I thought there are some misunderstandings, but also it's also like how we are as people. Like, we don't like to come and admit some things. I mean, really, because like I said, season one probably wouldn't happen if Sam had just come out and said, look, we were in a car wreck last night, even though she wasn't involved. I mean, she was in the car, but it wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
Just her not saying that. It's a chain reaction of all this stuff going on, and kind of like, and that's why she's like the root of a lot of these problems, because she just doesn't have the guts to sit there and say, this is what really happened.
Yeah.
It's a fun
way of
video, but also too, like when I mean, this whole thing is based off the idea of Johnny not really being a bad guy. When we all watched the Karate Kid as kids and as adults, the movie is played, the Cobra Kai's are real assholes. There is no gray area. They are strictly out to make Daniel's life a living hell. And that is it, until the very end, when Johnny feels uncomfortable, and so does Bobby, about trying to inflict deliberate, illegal pain on Daniel. That becomes like an awakening for them. But prior to that, these guys are bad guys. Like, even though bad student, bad teacher, that works too. But they are the villains. There is not a gray area, and so now we're. God, where the hell was I going with this point?
I think you were going with before he was definitely the world in Karate Kid was more white and black, and in this show, everybody almost is just in that shade of gray. There's no, except for Kreese. Really.
Kreese, yeah, which I bought it.
I didn't. I did. No, I didn't trust him at all. Great.
I'm glad he was not like a good guy in the very end. I'm glad to know. No. He is, even though in his mindset he says that Johnny just needs to be, reminded about what Cobra Kai really is about.
Right.
And I just love for him in the end to come in and pretty much throw a mutiny against Johnny and take it over like that. Like,
Well,
that's a villain.
I'll ask you guys this because that's where, honestly, I feel like that's the only thing about season 2 I got right in my head going into it. I'm like, at some point, Johnny's going to be out. Kreese is going to find a way to take over. Did you guys have that similar mindset of thinking that this is where it was going to go?
No, I thought that there's going to be a butting of heads because even though Kreese is trying to make things right, he still is still stuck in his ways of pushing pushing the boundaries of no mercy and telling no, you got to push it even further. And John is like, no, I'm all for staying strong and being badass, but don't take it too far. And that was going to be, they're trying to be friends, but there's going to be that constant conflict between the two of them to keep the drama going. I mean, look, if we don't have drama and everything is how we would see it in real reality, well, then we have no entertainment. That goes for movies and TV shows. We can't have complete reality. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that kick-ass fight at the end. If, teachers show up, like, well, the fight be over in about a minute. All the fights. Yeah,
Pruitt would come running down.
Yeah. And Nathan's like, you got one, Bob Brady. And then he starts singing and dancing like, Andrew, what's his name? Andrew WK. There it is. But from the very beginning, like, what did you guys, Joe? I'm talking too much. Joe, jump in here.
From the very beginning, what was your? It sounded like you had a question lined up for him, though. No.
Or for both you guys too. Like with the first episode and bringing Kreese back and everything, with his introduction about being brought back in and how he comes back of, being a liar, so to speak, and really being homeless all these years. Do you guys accept that or buy that?
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe. I've been talking a lot as well.
No, I mean, I could buy that. It's just like when we spoke about when we were doing season 1 and after that ended, I expected him at some point to get control over Cobra Kai again. I didn't know by what degree. I didn't know if there was going to be legal papers or whatever. I like how he did it in this, but that's something I expected. I never did trust him from the beginning, but the little thing about being homeless, that was a little twist. I wasn't sure, at first I thought, okay, maybe he is living somewhere else. He found out about the news. He came back to where they're doing it now, but I didn't know that he was going to end up being homeless, that he lied about everything about, re-enlisting and all the places he went. I like that character, the dynamic is just like we were saying earlier, all those other moments of the misunderstandings, that is what, it helps keep the tension and keeps you coming back for more, because you're right. Sure, I would have loved for Johnny and Daniel Bam to be buddies, but of course it didn't happen. I think it's going to build up in season 3. I'm sure you guys are thinking the same thing. I think that Johnny and Daniel are eventually have to put everything aside. They're and work probably together going against Kreese. It'd be crazy if Terry Silver came back in season 3.
I am hoping here, people, that's how Kreese got the money to take over the dojo. A guy who has no money somehow comes in, takes over the money, and makes a deal with this guy who's wanting to raise the rent. I'm thinking Terry Silver gets word that Cobra Kai is on top again, gives him the money to take it over, and then we have Allie come back and Terry Silver comes back.
That's gonna be good to see Allie when she does return.
Like Thomas Eager needs to grow. He's got like gray hair now. He needs to grow it out and have a gray ponytail and everything, and just be as smug as he could be, and come back. And
he would. This show is it's so damn great. It's like you said, there's a lot of shows that are remakes or just trying to bring back something from the past that don't work. This just works perfect. It feels like it's still an 80s show, but of course modernized, but it is. It's taking place now, but they just didn't lose it, and they didn't give into a lot of crap you see in other shows.
Of course not. Because, shit, you got kids that are fighting each other in the mall and at school. And none of it's held back, like how they talk to each other. That's how kids talk to each other. There's no putting a wall there, and it's like, this doesn't happen. Yes, it does. It still happens to this day. It goes back to that commercial that they had at the beginning, where like the flashback sort of to season 1, where Hawk, when, before he has transformation, his mom's on the phone calling school. Well, this will put an end to it. He's like, no, you don't understand. Like, there needs to be more of that shit infused into things. And I've seen it in a couple movies that have come out recently that I've watched. They've actually taken that real approach, and it's nice to see, because it tends to get glossed over of like, well, that's just this. It's like, no, this really does affect a lot of people, even well into adulthood, as we see here with Johnny and Daniel. Like, they still have that grudge with each other, even though they kind of want to let it go, and everyone else around them's like, just let it go, and they can't for some reason.
Well, and that's, I mean, you know, me, Nathan, all three of us know what it's like to be picked on. Like, I don't lose sleep over stuff that happened to me as a kid. I won't forget it, and I remember it vividly. So if I ever were to see those individuals who gave me a hard time, I'm going to remember them as being that prick that made fun of me because I didn't have Nike shoes, or decided to make fun of me and says I was poor or something like that. I don't dwell on it, but you don't forget it, and you do remember it when you see those people. That's why I kind of feel like, you know, people had these first impressions of everybody. You know, even though in the first season where Johnny and Daniel feel like, you know, Daniel's not actually trying to keep it going, but they just had this perception of each other, and I feel like, how to explain it here. I just feel like the misunderstandings, but also the idea that, you know, things are happening to kind of keep that perception of everybody's thought on Robbie, thought on Miguel, thought on Sam, thought on Tori. Like, we all know they're not really bad people, even though I think Hawk clearly is becoming more of a villain.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it as well. It's good to see that transformation, that it's really just sort of overtaken him. Like, he's no longer who he used to be. He is Hawk. He is this person.
Yeah. And he buys into that philosophy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he which, I mean, it's good to be confident, but he takes it just to the extreme. It's almost like he's just constantly in a rage, like he's on something in a way.
Yeah,
you know?
and he doesn't. Yeah, and he doesn't like that reminder of who he is or used to be. Like, you know, because when Dimitri would bring, oh gosh, and I like see Dimitri finally do something, because I liked, you know, like he's wanting to learn martial arts, and of course you see what happens with Cobra Kai, how he gets away from that. Then
God,
you know,
boy,
then goes
that.
It then goes to Miyagi-Do, and I like that he didn't pick up on it quickly. It's like, I'm sure somebody expected that the wax on, wax off, paint the fence, it would have just resonated that quickly. But it didn't, and it showed he still didn't get it. He's a guy that's quirky. He has a weird way about him. And it took a lot to where he finally understood to kind of stand up for himself. I like that, because there's some people that really, they're not fighters by nature. And even when they want to defend themselves, it's hard for them to do. So seeing what he was going through constantly, and with the lessons of Daniel, that it finally resonated, and he was able to do some kind of, you know, defending of himself. I like that, because you'd hope that somehow with, you know, a lot of kids or people in general that might have issues of confrontation, that it's a confidence thing. I'm not saying go out and beat the hell out of somebody, but just to kind of get an inner confidence.
Joe is endorsing go out and beat the hell out of people.
No, but you know what I mean, to gain that inner confidence, and you just to know that maybe you don't have to be pushed around as much as you think, you know, when you just sit and you might take it. You know, it was a good balance.
I mean, it was, but I still don't think that he's confident in himself. Even after that, I don't.
It's a slow build.
Yeah.
Well, I like what you said, because you're right. Some are very confident, but it shows that even some people that, like with him, it's a little. It might not seem like a lot, but for him, that's probably a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because you see how he is. So I like that it's building slower with him. Maybe in season 3, he'll pick up even more. I doubt. Yeah, maybe he won't even have a super confidence level all the time, but it's something to where maybe he won't get pushed around as much as he used to.
Did he get on anyone's nerves? He got incredibly close for me to just being like, oh, God.
When he was overanalyzing the lessons and stuff, maybe, or other times.
It was just almost like every time he was there, I wanted to punch him in the face, because I was like, dude, just stop, just like listen to what, just don't say anything, just use your.
It took him a bit, but I know what you mean. I understand what you mean.
He came pretty close for me.
I told Nathan, because he asked me, and I said, you know, I get why Nathan, and I had another guy I used to work with, like, tell me he couldn't stand it, and I really just felt like that's portraying like the common mindset of a lot of teens today, where they want to question everything and talk like they know so much more, but try to avoid as much work as possible. Not all of them, but that consensus of trying to constantly look down upon authority, that because you grew up in an age where, you know, you're kind of coddled and allowed to not much is expected so much, you know, you kind of get, you know, like the whole everyone gets a trophy kind of.
Yeah, I love that Kreese threw that out when he started talking. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
When he said it, I'm like, dude gets it, but he's He's a little too much, too hard.
But see, like where Kreese says we need to stop with the ass kissing and start with the ass kicking. That and then Daniel's. I love it when because I just feel Daniel's frustration when he says, "Dimitri, do you want to be here?" Like because it was nice to feel like, look, this thing. Miyagi's philosophy and his karate practices are very smart and intelligent, and they give you exactly what you need. But it was realistic because Daniel's not Miyagi. It's not going to click. And you often wonder how Miyagi obviously lost his patience with Daniel when Daniel's like, "Oh, bullshit, I'm going home," and Miyagi's like, "All right, come back here," and then tells him, "All right, show me this," smacks him on the head, and just he's frustrated over them. But look, I'm giving you what you want. So it was good to see Daniel lose his temper with Dimitri. And it's like, look, I'm trying to help you out here. So I think, yeah. But that's what the character needed to be. And to realize, shut the hell up. You're not going to get it right. It takes time and patience and practice. Like when Dimitri says, can I have a workbook or something? Like, that's the mentality of a lot of teens. They want to get by with as little as possible. Not all. So if anybody's listening to this and saying that, I have a hard working, I'm not saying everybody. But I think that's just kind of what it represents his character.
Yeah, because you've seen that he kind of gave in quickly. Oh, I'm sorry, Nathan.
Oh no, dude, you're good. I was just gonna say that most of the things that I'm having here, like Dimitri, like teetering close, like that was the intention, right? It was supposed to make me feel frustrated and annoyed by him, and
kind of like Kylo in season 2. I want to kick his ass too. I want to, take him and his friends to smash their head against with the lunch tray too.
Yeah. So it did its purpose, and kudos to them for doing that. We've kind of like bounced around between different characters and other stuff.
Oh, that's fine.
No, it is. I was just thinking because there might be some people that want to just hear this and not watch it yet, and
by the way, people, spoilers.
Yeah.
No.
I was just thinking if there was a way, like. If we kind of broke it down a little more and just sort of say like, all right, well, Kreese comes back. Johnny decides to let him in. He's reluctant. All the students are there. Daniel decides because Kreese is back that he's gonna start his own dojo. And as Tyler alluded to, you spend a lot of time with Daniel basically questioning, like, am I doing the right thing? I'm not Miyagi. He becomes consumed by it again. More so than he did in season 1 by just like his disdain for Cobra Kai, so much that it's starting to affect his job
and his marriage.
So there's also that added layer. Lots of added stress to him. We also have the idea that Robbie's mom is incredibly shitty and just runs off with some guy to Mexico. And he's like, all the bills are taken care of. His lights and everything get shut off. He ends up living with the LaRussos, and things get heated with Sam, terrible name, because I did like that part when after they had the training like outside and it was hot, and then Daniel took them all into the freezer. She's like, well, which one did you like? And he's like, I prefer the heat, and like comes up and like grabs her face and like, that's kind of smooth. It's kind of smooth. Yeah. That looked like an Amato move to me.
That could work. Yeah, it's got to be the one-liner.
And this is like, Joe, but this can't work unless you take the mask off.
And I'm like, oh, fuck.
He's like pressing his mask up against her. You like that?
Yeah, exactly. Make a little slit right here in the mask, see a little tongue coming out.
He sticks
right
his tongue
there.
out like Corey Feldman in the Goonies.
Yeah.
Sticking his tongue through the painting. Yeah, that's Joe. An operator.
That's right. But no, there's a lot of one. Like, okay, like the new character Tori spelled with a Y.
No.
It's like, I got a vibe from that, and this is me just hypothetical because she came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, would she possibly be related to Allie with an I? It's like, did they do that on purpose as an homage to the original, or do you think she could be related to Allie?
What do you think she is the daughter of somebody? Because to me, it was kind of strange that she just showed up as well. The entire time, I was like, who is she? What's the twist? There's guys
she said she saw them at Valley Fest. Like she was impressed by what she saw, so she shows much like how Chris and his buddies show up, in the first episode to take lessons. I just take it as that the word gets around of how popular and cool these guys are, so she just shows up to take lessons, just like the other guys do. No,
I like the theories though.
Yeah,
but you're right.
I don't buy that she has a backstory other than I mean, because she's Allie's mom, that means Allie was a poor doctor, couldn't support. She got fired working at a restaurant. Like, that's why I kind of feel like she is just brought in as a new character. You know, much how like how Miguel just shows up. He's not related to anybody. He's not the son. He's just someone that befriends Johnny out of nowhere.
Sure,
as a neighbor.
Cool. I mean, like I said,
it's just Tori. You know.
Yeah, it's an interesting theory. Like I said, it's you're right. I'm not saying she is or isn't. I just like the theory of it because of that statement. But like you said, it could have just been a complete homage to the original Karate Kid.
Homages, like in the first episode when Daniel is showing Robbie how to put hammers in, an homage to Karate Kid Part 2 with putting the nails in with one smack. Like, I just take that as just constant. That if you know these films quite well, you'll catch these little nods and sprinkles of winks. But they're not like, hey, look at this. You remember this, don't you? Don't you? You know, it's not like that. It's just if you know it, you catch it and move on, you know?
Yeah, because like coincidentally, poor Tommy being put in a body bag, you know.
I didn't catch that till someone posted that because I'm more depressed about.
Oh, somebody posted? Where did you see? Somebody did a post
on YouTube, like Tommy's actually put in a body. And I'm like, wait. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Because I was more broken hearted, like. Oh, Tommy's dead, man. Which we'll get to at the moment. Seeing all the Cobra Kai back together except Dutch, I'm like, I was just like, oh man.
Yeah, but they explain that it's like he's in jail.
Yeah,
but which it was said, and behind the scenes, like Chad McQueen said, he wasn't confident in coming back and acting again. He just didn't feel like he could do it, and wasn't too.
I was wondering what happened because I would have loved to seen him come back.
That was something that Martin Cove, John Kreese, said in an interview. Like he was approached and asked, and he just chose to not accept it. So maybe given how good this was with Jimmy, Bobby, and Tommy coming back, maybe Dutch gets out of prison and we get him in like a one episode kind of thing. But I enjoyed seeing all the rest of the Cobra Kai game back as adults. Like I would love to see that revisited next season, like to have them involved a little bit more. You know?
Let's go ahead and Tyler, let's go ahead and talk about that segment. So Johnny gets a call and is like, hey, it seems very urgent, and that sort of also sets in motion of Kreese kind of digging his fingernails a little deeper.
It's perfectly written to get Johnny away from Cobra Kai for a while.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, we need you. He's like, I got to go. You got this. And Kreese is like, of course I do. And the entire time I'm like, you son of a bitch. So Johnny shows up at the hospital, and it turns out one of his former brothers is sick, and it turns out everyone they're back together, and we get a nice little flashback scene because they're like, well, we can take them out of here for 24 hours, and they get on motorcycles, flashes back to their time.
Ride. Yeah, I love that song.
And then they go to a bar, and they're all sitting there, and that's sort of and if I'm not mistaken, it kind of bounces back and forth. I don't know why Jasper's barking. Bounces back and forth between Kreese digging his nails in, and also the guys at the table having beers. Like, oh, you brought it back? That's a bad idea. You know, they're really instilling in him what he kind of already knows. He's like, I want to do the right thing. I want it to be different, and maybe having Kreese back. Yeah, he's changed, but even then, he's starting to doubt himself. And then, of course, we get an amazing fight in the bar as well, which was badass. But you guys have any more thoughts on that? How were you feeling? What were you thinking when all that was going on?
Joe?
It was great seeing them together. It was just sad because I mean, you knew what's going to happen. I mean, you knew that you knew he was going to die, but it was his last time to ride and be with his friends. So that aspect, I mean, it was nice to have their little talk when they're out in the woods and everything. I didn't know, and this is a question because it's not actually about the show per se, but about the character, Rob Garrison, who played Tommy. Do you know? I mean, was there any special effects or makeup, or did he really look like that?
He's wearing. I mean, he's aged, but I'm pretty sure he's wearing a bald cap, like the makeup.
Okay.
Too. Yeah.
I was gonna say because those guys look like hell compared to Johnny. I'm like, aren't you guys relatively the same age?
That's what I was trying to get to. I was like, man, like Ralph Macchio and, of course, Johnny, they both look great for their age still. The others, well, I mean, I guess everybody ages different, but it's good to know that, like you said, maybe he was just wearing a bald cap because I was like, wow, the poor guy, he was supposed to be sick and he really looks sick, but knowing now that he's not looking like that makes me feel
yes, Joe.
You managed to beat cancer? I thought you were going to die on the show, like in real life. Man, was that real? Did you really die?
Yeah, it's like Chris Farley again and Paul.
I felt so bad.
Hey, you remember that time when you had terminal cancer? You remember that? Was that real?
I just
Joe's
wanted. I
sitting
was
like rubbing
praying.
his fingers together, like, sorry, man, it's a stupid question. He's like, stupid shit. Yeah.
I was just praying he didn't look that rough. That's all, because I felt so bad for the guy. Because I was like, man, he really
You're
looks rough.
supposed to.
So I was,
I mean, Joe just thinks.
But seriously though, like Kreese looked younger than those guys did.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, holy shit! Like Kreese still looks good.
Yeah.
You know, like he looks
And
like he
still
hasn't aged
badass.
that much. Yeah. Even though there was, it kind of made me chuckle. I don't know if he was. Joe, you all right?
yeah, I'm just grabbing something I dropped.
Okay. I didn't.
His dose of reality.
I didn't know if like Kreese was like drunk or something, but like he's in the background and he's walking towards. It's either Johnny or Miguel or somebody, and he's just kind of like walking like at a slant, and then he kind of like does this. I'm like, is he drunk or something? That got a little chuckle out of me. I
like how he orders the corned beef hash and Sanka. How's the corned beef hash? I'll take it well done. And Sanka, red hot. Yeah, just like you, dog. I just like watching Martin Cove pick up on a waitress. I just thought that was it's just something we've not seen that character, really hit on women other than getting like massages from Pomona in Tahiti in part 3. But it was just funny watching him pick up on a waitress. I just liked his delivery of that.
I liked also that, the disconnect of like this generation, especially when it always comes from Johnny, because it makes me think sometimes about what the hell am I doing with this device, and I don't know what to do. I'm not on his level.
Now that stuff was like people want to say, oh, I hate comedy, like that stuff with Johnny, like him saying, hey, I tried to find you a trapper here. Do they still have those things? I have one with a fighter jet. It's so cool. I
like that part.
I just love him trailing off.
I would know.
That. I just thought that was so funny.
I'd be the same way, honestly. I'd be the same way. I was like, they don't have trapper keepers no more? I like when he was sitting there like, hash brown Cobra Kai, put it on the internet or whatever he said. I was like, hash brown.
My highlight of this entire season is when he gets the laptop and he's like, he goes to the pawn shop first, throws it down. And he's like, this thing's busted. It's like, well, did you turn it on? And he's like, yeah. And he's like tapping the side, and the guy like turns it on, and then he goes back to the dojo, and he's on the phone. And he was like, how do I get the internet? And he's like, we're not the Geek Squad, we're the pawn shop. And he's like, figure it out in the Internet for Dummies book. He gets it connected, and what does he do? First thing, hot babes.
Porn.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't even porn. It was just hot babes, wet t-shirts, Iron Eagle, Bloodsport.
Yeah.
And I'm, and also too, when he's like, what was it? He's like, throw a Thunderstruck over the video, and they're like, I think there'd be a copyright. He's like, no, I own the cassette tape. And I was just like, this is brilliant.
And he says it so naturally, like it doesn't sound like he's trying to be funny. He's just like speaking and stuff like that's how to respond. Like, God, this is great, and that's a testament to William Zabka's performance in this.
To me, he is still the best overall character in the show.
I hands down. Him going through the montage of dating women.
Yeah,
God, that was great. Like, I hate the Patriots too. Just oh my God, like it was so like, good, and
everything he did.
Yeah, and then when he runs into the lady who fired him in season 1, and get into it, he goes, "Bitch!"
Takes a drink. Yeah. The beauty of it is he's just a very simple guy, and we see that again when they inadvertently have that double date at the Mexican restaurant, and they're all getting like fancy food. He can't pronounce it. They get like fancy drinks, and they're like, "Here's your Coors Banquet," and you see Daniel just like kind of laugh and roll his eyes. I like that about Johnny. Like that's he's not trying to be anybody else or anything else. He knows who he is, but he also knows that he does need to change a little bit, if that makes sense. And you see that, and I think his students have brought that out of him, which is why when he has those conversations with Kreese, it's almost like Kreese is looking at him like, and he's like, these are good kids, and I don't want to be that again. It's God, the more and more that we talk about this, the more I realize that, holy shit, there was just so much going on in this season, and they did find a way to balance it perfectly and not spend too much time on one thing.
No, and that's why it's so important that all these characters are they're linked together, and that's why it's like Miguel, who of all the new characters is my favorite character, and even into this season as well. Like to catch on what Nathan just said or touch on that, Johnny learned from Kreese, but now Miguel's learned from Johnny, and Johnny's also learned from Miguel of kind of like when he's talking to him about setting up an app and, how about, I got to teach you how to dress. You mean old jeans? I got those. Just that, them learning from each other, but also like how Miguel's gaining confidence, learning how to be a man and growing. He's clearly benefiting from Johnny, but also like first episode too, like, look, I want you to, I'm learning too. And you have the potential to be better than I ever was. So it's great that, like Nathan said, Johnny is making changes and realizing that what he learned was great, but it wasn't the completely right way of going about your life. And I just like that. That's how the characters are evolving, and that's what keeps the show going. Characters have to maintain their great personalities, but think they have to go through obstacles and changes and make progression and learn and make mistakes along the way too. Yeah. And that's what makes this so great. I will say it was overwhelming when I was done watching. I'm like, it was, but in a great way. Like, oh my God, like I can't wait to watch this. And going back a second time, everything settled in and you enjoy it just as much, if not more so, because you buy into everything. You're like, this is great because Miguel progresses here. Robbie learns about this, and Sam's not mentioning this. So she's cleared the source of problems here again. And,
what is it with Sam's and just being like the cause of everything terrible?
Nathan, you know this better than anybody else.
Yeah, I know, I do, don't I? That's a story for another day. Anyway, I think also one of my other favorite parts we talked about, Miguel and Johnny sort of just bouncing and learning from one another. We also discover that Miguel finds out that Robbie is Johnny's son.
Pretty early on, too, earlier than I thought we would, which I thought was good.
Yeah, because he comes in there because he's like, yeah, Mom made you this because you didn't need to eat whatever again. And see
for breakfast.
Yeah, and you see Robbie's photo on the fridge. But I like the scene when Johnny's like, hey, let's go get a burger. And they go to the place, they sit down, and he explains to him. Because Miguel and those guys were kind of pissed. It's like, oh, well, this is the reason that you want us to back off because he's your son. He's like, no, I want you to do the right thing. You don't have to go about it that way. But I love that scene when he's like, you see that hospital right there? He's like, Robbie was born there. I was too busy. Like I was on a bender and trying to sober up and go up there. And I never did and all that stuff. And it was just a nice moment.
It's a powerful moment.
It really was for him to establish to Miguel. It's like, look, yes, you know what? He is my son, but like, I care a lot about you too. And I want you to be a good person and a good man. I thought that was there's a lot of moments like that sprinkled out, like not even like so a lot in season 1, but also a lot here as well.
It pushes that idea that where he failed as a father for Robbie, he's making up for it with Miguel. Yeah. And obviously there's more obstacles because when Miguel gets hurt and Carmen blames him for that, even though at the beginning of this season Carmen thanks him for building Miguel's confidence, even though she questions, how his aggression, but she also isn't aware that Miguel is fighting the guy that stole his girlfriend. So to speak.
Yeah.
So it's just things that people aren't aware, and just looking at the situation, you think a certain way. But it just makes that relationship between Miguel and Johnny that much more enjoyable. And going back and rewatching season 1, it's just so naturally built. Him being a hard ass, but then realizing he's sticking with it, and he's actually taking my lessons. He's doing great. Like when he hands in the karate gi, his gi that he had in the first one, like that's a great moment, and we just get even more of that. Like it continues to be pushed, and to put them in the situation then where he's in the hospital. This is I hate using this analogy, but it's like Empire Strikes Back. Everything's gone to shit when this season is over. The bad guys have won, and everybody that's good is all suffering. Johnny's suffering, Miguel is suffering, his mom is suffering, Daniel's suffering, Sam's suffering, Daniel's wife is suffering. Everyone's except Cobra Kai. They're just looking for revenge now because now Kreese is going to.
And even that though is like a smaller sector of Cobra Kai because it wasn't everybody that was in there either. So there's definitely like a split there. Yeah. The other thing, well, we also there's so much to talk about here. The other thing I wanted to touch on is we also have at the beginning, there's sort of the kids are more involved of like, well, Miyagi-Do started and Hawk takes it upon himself to take some of the guys and go and trash Miyagi-Do. And not only that, but still the Medal of Honor. And that leads to a thing, because you see Daniel just completely like, holy, like, that's really the first time, because the cars get trashed too. That's the first time you really see him just like break from what he's been, like, really. And he goes to Cobra Kai, pops in, Johnny's like, what are you talking about? And that's also another good thing, because he's like, you don't do that. Who did this? We'll find out who did it. And Kreese already knows. And that it adds to that other layer. Kreese is just like that snake, and he's waiting for his moment. And he even tells Hawk, it's like, oh, I know you did it, but or he even says, he's like, I know who did it, Hawk. And he's like, what? And he's like, oh, and Miguel. And he just throws, it's like, we're together, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, holy shit. Like, it makes me just want to kick him in the face. But I really like that.
Such a heel.
Yeah, it leads to Miguel. We have the battle in the forest with
Coyote Creek. Yep.
Yeah, Coyote Creek. It's when we're introduced to Stingray.
Stingray takes it all at the end. You know what I like about that character too? It's, they give a
Tread
like we were talking
here,
about.
Joe.
Joe, what the? Wait, hang on. What you got on your
What
hand?
is cool? Oh, those are just brass knuckles. Sorry.
Are they
But,
foam, like, bathroom toy like foam knuckles? Are they?
No, they're not brass. They're plastic. Somebody made them for me. Says He-Man on them. Gave me some He-Man knuckles, some knuckle dusters. So thanks. But
that's like Joe in his ghetto days, walking around with his knuckle dusters with his afro and everything. And
I'm sure you guys had to have had real brass. I had real brass knuckles. I know you guys had to.
Here in little, small town, little Fairlawn, Virginia, I mean, you couldn't walk the streets going to Revlon Elementary without some brass knucks in both hands, man.
No, it was always cool. But no, what I like is, again, they try to give a little bit of something to where that character Stingray is just that light little sprinkle of humor to where definitely you would not have wanted that in every episode. Let me just say that. But for the little bit of there, it was working, because first you have the stuff with the adults, you have stuff with kids, then you have that one guy that probably does live at home in the basement with his mothers, just wants to relate with somewhere, so he goes to be with the kids. In a little moment in the forest, I did get a kick out of. Would I wanted him in every episode to have that? No, I wouldn't. But I like that little moment. I was like, he had his little moment. I see how it worked for that one little sprinkle of humor. So it was just, because I know people like that. That just,
Tyler, because you and I were texting each other about it. You said that there was one character. Or it sounded that way in your text, that there was one character that kind of got. Who was that one character?
It was Stingray's appearance in the last episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, honestly, I had no problem with the character. I actually thought some of his stuff was actually legitimately funny, because I got his persona. Plus, with people in our age range and older watching the show and getting excited about it, and kind of wanted to, I love the 80s, man, that kind of thing. So
that's like him.
And I got that, but I felt like that last episode was such a pivotal, important, very drama-filled episode, and to shoehorn in this character so he could fight with high school kids for humor purposes, like that could have very easily destroyed the momentum in that episode for the sake of someone thought we need to insert him as someone who's trying to be security for just to be funny. Like, that was very dangerous to insert that character when these kids are building it's just building to a boiling point for this epic, wonderfully choreographed fight in school with kids, where you actually
to assault them. And he's assaulting them in the school. But
it was done to be funny, though, and that's why I'm like, I don't like that shit. Like, everything else was fine. Him coming to the party, tying drinks to his hands. I was fine with that.
Tyler, they call that Edward 40 hands.
Okay, that's because I don't drink and I don't know anything about partying and getting down with bad stuff. And all that shit.
Tyler and I back in high school, we never went to any parties.
No, I could relate a lot to Miguel and Hawk because I still am into nerd stuff. I didn't party. I wasn't popular or anything like that. I love my nerd stuff and always afraid of getting picked on. So I found all this stuff. Yeah,
Well, let's talk about that party then, because Hawk's ex-girlfriend, because she left him because she doesn't like the person that he is anymore, decides to throw a party because, hey, we're about to go back to school. Summer's over. Miyagi-Do students are thinking, oh, okay, it's just us. No, it's everybody. Cobra Kai's are there. And once again, we have that standoff. Tensions are like gradually building. They're here at the party. But you do have that decent moment with Dimitri and Hawk where he's like, hey, I don't care about that nerd shit. And he's like, well, Moffat left the show. They're talking about Doctor Who. And he's like, oh, what, really? It's like, and there's a new doctor? And he's like, yeah, it's a woman. It's like, oh, wow. And then on a dime, just takes a drink, pours it on his head. And that's when Dimitri's like, okay, well, hey, everybody, this is his real name. And he used to wet the bed all the time.
Uh-huh.
Even have his own air mattress at my house. I don't really know where I was going with any of that, but it's just more and more building towards the last episode. Should we just go ahead and dig into that, or is there anything else that happens beforehand that you guys want to discuss?
Like touching on like it's just establishing all these feuds you got going on with Tori and Sam, Hawk and Dimitri, Miguel and Robbie. You got even with Bird and the little Asian kid with braces. Like it was just fun. Like you're setting, and then Chris and his buddy. Chris is like the big black kid that leads, and I like that too. Like it was
the
fun,
Ultimate
like,
Warrior shirt too.
Yeah,
he had an Ultimate Warrior shirt. Like
yeah, I'm sure Joe was like, "Oh man, he's my favorite character of all time." But it was fun to see him like he's to see the look on his face when they go to the mall and he goes along with like we're going to go and confront Dimitri, and you can see that like uncomfortable feeling. It's like he's going to leave. Plus, I saw him in the trailer like with Miyagi and the Miyagi dome. Like, okay, he's going to switch. But it was cool to see that. And even though with these new characters, like you're establishing these minor feuds that don't take away anything, but they're all relatable feuds. Like these,
and it's also in a weird way looking on the fact that these kids are having their own Daniel Johnny moments with themselves. So it's just like everybody's going through that exact same thing. That mall fight was very well done as well, yeah. and I loved that shot of Hawk jumping at Robbie, and Robbie just like kicks him and knocks him the fuck out. That to me, like when that happened, I almost popped out of my chair. I was just like, yeah. Hawk got his ass kicked a lot.
Yeah,
for as much as he was sitting there like, yeah, I'm a tough son of a bitch. Like he got beat up a lot.
But he still maintained that heel status of like you buy him as like he's going to be like the new Johnny of Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
because he just continued on like when we lost and Moon breaks up with him, and you said that great one shot of following him into the back of the dojo, that great music playing too. Well, by the way, the soundtrack for this season was fantastic. And then he just letting off his anger, like you still buy like he's gotten his ass kicked, and he continues to even in the last episode, but he still is like the legitimate villain of the kids. And they said like he will be the one that leads Tori and the rest of the gang in season 3 under Kreese's tutelage.
Well, will Tori be with them? Who's to say?
Yeah.
And here's what builds up to the high school fight. So at that party, Sam finds out that Miguel brought that Medal of Honor back, and Robbie hid it from him. And she's always been kind of like struggling with this whole thing anyway. Like, yeah, she's really into Robbie, but she still feels things for Miguel. And she ends up kissing him. The only problem is, of course, Tori's inside the house looking out the window and sees this. So we get to our first day of school. And I thought it made me laugh, and I thought it was great. We got the morning announcements. We see everybody sitting in their classrooms. And you hear, hey, wait, you're not supposed to be. You can't do that. And then Tori gets on the thing. Is like, I'm coming for you, bitch. I'm just like, oh, God. And then we get that good montage of, like, she's coming out of the classroom, pans to Tori walking. They're standing there. And then we also have Miguel and Robbie, like, running out of their classrooms to get to them. And then ensues the big blow up, the big fight.
Yeah,
we got
the
Sam
big
and Tori.
battle royal.
Yep, Miguel and Robbie. And then everybody else that has a problem with each other. And that, as Tyler stated earlier, was very well choreographed.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, but there wasn't anything where you couldn't tell what was going on. It was all shot. You could see it all. And I'll be honest, I was not expecting what happened to happen. I think I audibly like gasped, and I don't do that often. Like, I thought something bad was going to happen, but not to that degree. Holy shit. I I'll let one of you guys kind of take it over and explain what ends up going down. But I was just like, and I just sat there like wide-eyed, just like staring at the TV, like, oh no.
Yeah,
Terrible.
it was. Again, you're right. You knew something was going to happen, especially when you see that banister. But I was like, I didn't know it was going to be that far.
Yeah.
I assumed somebody was going to go over that, but I didn't know that was going to happen when Miguel got kicked over and flew all the way down. It looks like he hits the steps, the barrier at the same time. I don't know what he did, but either way,
he hit the railing and then it collapsed on the steps. So yeah,
so it was the doubler.
Yeah,
it was like a bang bang. So that was a shocker. And of course, Robbie just running the hell out of there. That is something again, you're right, I did not expect it because now he's in the hospital. You don't know if he's paralyzed, what's going on. There's going to be some bad damage there, which makes you think when they do get to season 3, like, when is it going to take place? I don't know. Are they going to show him in any form of recovering, or will it be like X amount of time has passed? Because you're assuming, if I was to guess, I would think season 3 might return to a tournament again, possibly. I don't know who would.
Yeah. To me, I think that's how I see season 3 capping off. We'll be back at the All Valley tournament again, but I see the beginning of the show honestly probably just like how it did with season 1 to season 2, just taking place right there, then and there, right where it's left off, and we'll probably have a few episodes of Miguel being in the hospital. But oh god,
because I'm wondering like who. I mean, we're going to have to see Sam and Tori. That's going to be a matchup at a tournament. I'm sure that is going to happen. But then where you have Robbie and then you have Miguel and then you have Hawk, it's like, well, who's going to be in the main event with that? Would you think? Because you think that Kreese is probably digging his, like you said, as Tyler said earlier, digging his fingernails into a character. He's probably wanting Hawk to be that next bad guy, guy at the bad level. But I don't know. That's what has me torn. It's like, who's going to be with those 3 guys at the end? Who's going face to face? Would possibly Miguel and Robbie, would they both go back to Miyagi? I mean, would they go to Miyagi-Do? Like with, of course, Miguel being the first time going there. Was Robbie just going to disappear?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You got to figure out where the fuck Robbie went to first.
Yeah, because he's probably thinking he's going to get thrown in jail, juvie. Yeah, I mean, kill the guy.
Well, and that's going to be kind of the important thing at the beginning of season 3 is what do you do with these characters? Like they have to be suspended or expelled or something. Like there's got to be some sort of consequence for what happened there. Let's talk too real quick about how Miguel ended up taking the tumble. He gets the best of Robbie in their fight, and he's got him like dead to rights, but he decides to show mercy. And Robbie,
decides to show no mercy.
Yeah, and
I don't think he wanted to do what he did. Yeah, he kicked him. I know he did not want that.
To me, that was just like all that emotion of everything just bubbling over. Like, how do you not get lost in a moment like that?
And that's realistic, though, to push it, but then not realize, oh my God, what have I done? Because I just couldn't, and that's how we as, men and women think when you get angry about stuff. When it's all over, you're like, why did I allow myself to do that? So all that was very realistic for someone to really get hurt at the end of all this. I mean, heading into season 3, I think it's going to, the finale will be a tournament with Kreese bringing in Cobra Kai. And I feel like, obviously, there's going to be a struggle because Daniel's wife doesn't want to participate in karate anymore because of what it's done. The All Valley tournament is going to happen regardless. But I just kind of feel like Johnny will obviously drop out. He won't be associated with Cobra Kai. I think Miguel will drop out because he'll follow Johnny's lead, if at least in terms of like wanting to get back into it. I do think, and this is very plausible, I had the same guy, Corey, had told me this. I didn't think about this. But because Miguel's in the hospital, now I don't know for sure. I have to go back and rewatch specifically. But they made a point to say in season 1, Allie's a doctor.
Yeah, neurosurgeon, right?
Yeah, neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
So I think she might get brought in to come check on Miguel as a specialist.
Yep.
And brings her into Johnny's life. Daniel obviously will see it too. It might cause more tension for him and his wife when he sees his old high school fling back. But I just really feel like there may not. Well, I kind of feel like Miyagi-Do will still be in the tournament. Like both women, Carmen and Daniel's wife, they're all high on emotion right now. Like Carmen says, I don't want you. I don't want to ever see you again. Don't want you around my son anymore. Daniel's wife's telling them like, no more karate. Like they're all high in the moment. I don't see, the the kids not participating in the All Valley in season 3. Like that's going to happen, but we're supposed to be left in like, how are we going to get out of this?
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, I see it as a part of Miyagi-Do will stay kind of dormant for a while, and then something will happen. Part of me feels like maybe it would be Allie that would bring Johnny and Daniel like to find that common ground. Maybe it would take her to do it and realize, yeah, we gotta destroy Kreese and take him out for good. And that would probably be a thing too. I feel like maybe the kids would even motivate them more.
They're going to need them because I imagine too the kids are going to be running rampant in school, or if they all expelled or suspended outside of school, they're going to be making Dimitri, Chris, and the rest of the kids' life miserable because they're associated with Daniel and Miyagi-Do. So therefore, the kids are going to need Daniel and Johnny. Look, we can't. We need more training. We're getting bullied and picked on all the time here. We're trying to things went too far. We don't want to go back down that road again. And that's why I feel like if people are going to be forced to come back into it. I like Nathan's point there. Allie will be that link to say Johnny and Daniel, like, enough's enough. You guys are good guys, both of you.
I also see Robbie going to Cobra Kai at first. Honestly, I think Kreese will find a way to like take him in because Robbie, he'll feel bad for what he did, but also like that anger that he had sort of showed that he was kind of tired and done with everything. Like he lost his girl again, presumably. And I see him going Cobra Kai. I see Miguel kind of being out for a while. It will probably lead to a fight with him in the All Valley. I see Dimitri beating Hawk in the tournament somehow because I just see Dimitri really getting that push where like actually he's going to be better at this than a lot of people ever thought at all. But I think Allie will be the one that really talks sense into everybody ultimately. Yeah,
because we would definitely have to have a scene where she sits down with both Daniel and Johnny in some form or another, talks to both of them because she comes back to this world and realizes all this karate and all this fighting still going on all these years later. Like I can imagine her like probably losing her shit over that.
Yeah, and it's like not only can you guys not let this go, but you've brought your kids and everyone else into this too. Like look at what it's doing. I see it. Do you guys see season 3 being it? Because in a way, I kind of do. I feel like it's building to this, and it'll be done after.
They said 3. They got multiple seasons, like they could do, like the creators did. Like they said, like there's no finite capper immediately. Like
that would be good. It's just it's either you make that go longer and extend that. You got to find other ways, I guess, to make it work.
I mean, obviously, you can't have like Kreese be completely defeated. Like he still has to maintain in charge of Cobra Kai and keeping reputable. Otherwise, the villain is not going to be very strong if he continues to keep losing students again, stuff like that. So it could be ended with a 3rd season. But I feel like if these guys like, hey, you bought me hook, line, and sinker. I forgive you for your past bullshit movies you've done with Harold and Kumar and all that other nonsense. What they've done with these characters, like, okay, if you guys can go to 5 to 6 seasons, I'll come along for the ride and I won't question anything. Because I still feel like, to see other love interests of Daniel's, other villains like Mike Barnes, Chosen, Terry Silver to come back in some form, plus new students. Like I think we can all say that these new additions to both dojos are pretty likable additions. They're not there taking away a lot of time, but you feel like there's room for growth and expansion, but still maintain kind of like Game of Thrones. We have your core cast that you like, but you've got your Bronze, you've got your Brienne, you've got your other characters coming in and out. And, if you can do that with high school kids and make them likable and keep things, tournaments every so often, because they said tournaments won't be like the build up.
Which was season. Good. That was refreshing, and not to have that in there in this season.
All this takes place over the summer. Yeah, I thought that was good. And then season 3, I could really, because they go back to school. School year starts. Yeah. Tournament time's not far from that. So I think season 3 will bring us back to the tournament, and I think safe to say like how Martin Cove was the big new return to this one. Allie, Elizabeth Shue will be the big return for season 3. Maybe if we're lucky, they'll throw in a Terry Silver or a Mike Barnes or something like that. Probably. I mean, hopefully. God, I hope Terry Silver comes back. God, I'm telling you, you guys really need to sit down and revisit that 3rd film, because I guarantee you, And I love how Daniel says, I became part of Cobra Kai. I'm like, I love that they reference that, because that's something I loved about that as a kid. Because I was like, we're seeing Daniel wearing a Cobra Kai gear. Like, that alone, that imagery is something you've like, now that's ballsy. And I feel like Joe, with his fake Italian blood here, refuses to see the coolness in that. Now, Joe, you need to, if I got, I think 2 copies of it. If I have to, I will send you a copy for you to review at your leisure and revisit this film.
That's the only way I'll do it, is if you send it. I will definitely revisit. I'll watch it again. So
this is Joe openly accepting a rental from me.
Yes.
All right.
I'll do it. I'll definitely I will. I'll do it. But no, as for how many seasons I'd want,
Joe, that was a joke. What I like Italian. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, no. I know.
I just want to verify.
Oh, no, I gotcha. No, sure, I would like to see, like, it go to maybe 4. It's just, I always get concerned that, God, what, like a lot of shows, I'm not saying that they'll do it, but you know how it is, sometimes they milk it, they go too far, and then it starts losing, some of the appeal. It's like,
yeah, you don't want it to overstay its welcome. I mean, yeah, yes. I think, honestly, like 3 great seasons, 4. But, who'd have thought we'd have gotten as much as we did out of something that we all kind of felt like, what else is there to do? Like, you felt like you told that story with Karate Kid. So, and as much
if they had a great ending, a way of, wrapping it up, like you said, if they had a great way to wrapping up season 3, sure, fine. If they went to 4, I just, honestly, for me, I wouldn't want it going past a season 4. I'm loving it. If they could write it with the quality of what they've done for season 1 and 2, sure. If they went more, I guess, that'd be great. But I always get leery of that stuff. So it's like, if you're going to get out while it's hot, go ahead. Don't just push it. Like you said, if it just gets a little too watered down and crappy, and it's like, boy, that season really sucked. And it's like, you hate when that happens, especially when something's great. But we know we're getting a 3.
Yeah, 3 is definitely coming. And I would like to think, too, that the show would end with these characters, like with Miguel and Robbie and Sam being like the core like group of kids. Like, I think, the show needs to end with that group. I feel like I'm all about bringing in new kids to both sides and befriending new kids, like an Aisha and things like that, Hawk. But I feel like we've taken this ride with them. It needs to end with them also, Yeah. And, do we really need to see something like where, Hawk learns the errors of his ways? No, not necessarily.
Maybe they can bring Hilary Swank in.
Oh, dear God, don't say that. Oh, dear God.
Dude, I just want to ask this. Could you guys hear me earlier? Because I couldn't. You guys went out.
No.
And I couldn't. I couldn't.
You went out.
It said Beyond Retro popped up in the comment. Like, did Nathan leave or something?
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That it was really weird because I'm like, hello, is anybody there? Because you started talking and went out. I'm like, huh. So hopefully on the playback, I guess hopefully it catches you guys saying everything that you said, and there's no like weirdness for the audio. So apologies to anyone in advance if there's like any weird gap right there. But bring in Hilary Swank. Let's do this. Fuck it. No, I don't know. I kind of worry after season 3. I think I would kind of worry about it starting to lose its luster a little bit. Yeah, I feel like there could be a potential dip, and I don't want that for this show. So I think if they were to kind of wrap it up in a way in season 3, I would be content with it. I would want more, but I don't want at the same time. I don't want to have that.
I want us to be left wanting more. Like Nathan's reaction after this, like I want a season 3 leaving. It's like that, and if they say we feel pretty good about wrapping this up, but then again too, this show, I saw like the first episode of season 2 on YouTube right now has like over 17 million views. So it hasn't been out that long. I had like 7 million, I think, when it dropped like Wednesday already. So obviously the demand and attention to the show is very, very high, and the flagship for YouTube's premium program.
Yeah, it's a hit.
So
it's a hit.
It's a hit. So if these places have hits, they want to keep going.
And it worked for me because I signed up for it, and I've had it ever since season 1.
Too.
Because I honestly, and this isn't like a cheap plug or anything, but I do enjoy not having to worry about ads anymore.
Oh, not having to see Geico and Progressive bullshit when I'm just trying to watch something. Oh,
and now
it's absolutely wonderful.
There's also a lot of videos that will have multiple like ad breaks in them. and that's just too much. So I would rather just pay. I think you and I are grandfathered in right now, at least for the like $10 a month. But I do think that it is a little more now. But I want to recommend it to anybody. If you're tired of the ads and you just want to watch Cobra Kai at your leisure all the time, it's worth the money, Joe. I'm just kidding.
that was a whole build up the whole time for me. Probably, well, it's like I don't have to worry about the ads because I know somebody else does the free trial to get it for a week. Then he gets rid of it. Then he's going back. Hey Tyler, can we watch this episode and we'll do commentary? But there's about 8 ads on that, so I'm gonna have to click on all that. Yeah, that is usually what happens. I'll admit, it is fun.
We have to adapt to Joe's, handicaps and things like that. So we have to.
Joe has to preset it to go past them and rewind then.
Yeah, so we it's just for people, that's what they expect from us. We have to adapt to Joe.
You're like, here we go.
But that's what makes us, who we are. People expect that Joe's going to be trying to think of like a fun, because I'm the pompous prick, and I'm sure everybody has like their viewpoint of all three of us on this show,
Oh, of course.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
They think Joe and I are like good guys. They probably think I'm a bit of an alcoholic, but they're like, that Tyler, man, he's a prick.
Yeah, thinks he knows so much. He's not into funny stuff, and he's all stuck in the times, man. He didn't want to watch all the cool Marvel stuff. He ain't cool, man. He ain't wearing the cool shirts you get at Hot Topic, man.
Hey, how would you feel about Jaden Smith showing up?
Can I turn off the podcast now?
Right now.
God, that should have been.
Well, you know what?
Where's the bleach?
What if Jackie Chan shows up? And
No.
Like, I remember Mr. Miyagi. Oh, that was the one thing when Daniel's walking on the beach and he sees that guy that's fishing and he runs up to him. What if that's like Miyagi's long lost son?
No.
I'm just trying to light a fire under.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can see the look on Nathan's face, like, how can I piss Tyler off? But no, but those moments were good. It's like reminders that I like that kind of heavenly vibe of Mr. Miyagi finding ways to kind of remind Daniel. That's kind of how I like to look at it. That he's still making sure that even though he's passed on, he's making sure Daniel is. Hey, he's having troubles, but Daniel still finds his way. Like I still like that, and that was a great scene of seeing someone on the beach, and he says something that's very Miyagi-like. I just felt like that's Miyagi reaching out to Daniel. Like that's a very special moment.
I mean, well, it's like you said before. They have good ways of just sort of sprinkling in a little bit. It's not like hitting. It's not punching you directly in the face. Like you remember that? This is from part 2. Yeah. No, it's a good balance of not, and that's what we always worried about with it. Anytime they do anything like this with anything, remaking it or sort of doing a sequel that sort of reboots everything, you always worry about.
Well, because most of the time they don't pull it off successfully, and I will say having this as a platform does help when you have time to really. But obviously, there have been great movies that have been made in an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes. If you really want to, you can tell a great story in a short amount of time. You shouldn't always have to rely on a streaming service to expand upon an idea you have, But for the most part, they tend to botch sequels to movies that were 20, 30 years old, and they decide to do a sequel, and no one gives a shit because it wasn't a very good movie. So something like this really could have been screwed up so easily, and I would want to thank those guys who were behind this, and for William and Ralph, obviously they thought it was a great idea. They were very behind it, and for their efforts, and everybody else in it, they're giving us something that everybody's so excited about, like seeing this kind of stuff, more and more available to us.
Yeah, the fact that I can go to Spencer Gifts and buy a Cobra Kai coffee mug or something, it's nice to see that again.
Yeah.
It proves it can be done, though. That's what I like. It proves that you can take without destroying it and making it something completely different, so far removed from the original that you don't want to see it. So it just shows that when people do want to say that me and Tyler or Nathan, you guys are stuck in the 80s and you don't want to move on. No, if they make a great reinterpretation or they take what existed before and expand upon it, it can be done right, and it can be done very well, and that's what they did with Cobra Kai. Unlike a lot of other stuff that's been popped up, that's crap. It's
wait, Joe, are you talking about that other season 2 that dropped this week?
Something, but see, that's all I'm saying is some things just suck. It's not us hating on it because we can't move on. It just fucking sucks. So that's all we're trying to.
Joe, emphasize that last part. Joe, emphasize that last part. But all right, more emotion.
Do it with the hands too when you say.
Yeah. Give us the Italian hands there, the mob boss. All right, come on, Joe. Take 2.
But all right. It fucking sucks. Yeah. And it's true. It does. It's like, it's terrible. It's my God. We would love to enjoy it. Believe me, we would. But when you're delivering garbage, that's what it fucking is. Yeah, so this isn't, though. Yeah, there you go. So, okay. Good Lord. I'm getting all worked up now. I'm going to have to blow my nose, get something to eat and drink.
Blow your nose. He's getting sweaty, everybody.
The mask. Later tonight on the podcast.
The mask is bleeding.
It is.
I'll be eating hot. Like an effect when he gets mad, the eyes start leaking like red fluid. Like it's like again, he's got like pumping up like red food coloring coming out of his eyes because like this bullshit on Netflix. Shira, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah, and I could actually have little tubes coming out of these little holes there, and I'm just squirting it.
It'd be like a dollar parlor trick, Joe. You really had to get in and just start pumping blood out of the eye sockets.
Yeah,
and just start convulsing after what you saw.
It could be easy. Just run it up through here, come through there, like when the Ultimate Warrior did the curse from Papa Shango.
Yeah, and then start going. Have your ears too. That watching season 2 made your ears bleed. Oh man, this is brilliant.
It's comic gold. I could do it, god damn it. But oh shit, this week coming up, I'm going to be eating those death nuts too sometime on Facebook. So we'll see how those things.
You got more balls to eat?
No, it's a death nut challenge. There's 5 levels that come in this thing, and it's from kind of hot all the way to something that's just absolutely insane. So I'll be doing that. You're
gonna do that on Facebook?
Yeah, I'll be on Facebook. We can see if I can hang with that, and if it something that can be saved, maybe we could be popping up on this channel or something. I don't know how to save stuff from Facebook to do it, but we could try that.
That's fine. Well, I mean, like, are you gonna do it on Facebook Live, kind of thing?
Yeah. It'll be Facebook Live. It'll be in Scareglow's house because that's where I've been called out with Scareglow's house on Facebook. So
was it free?
I think we could still. He's like, Joe, that's the only way you get stuff. It was a super cheap price with some eBay bucks I had, so I got it off of eBay, real cheap.
Of course you did.
And hey, thank you, Sheflex. Fedmon has been here the whole time. Thank you, Fedmon. We really do appreciate it. And Sheflex just popped up and said, "Great discussion, guys. Thanks." So, new listener.
Yeah, I appreciate you popping in. We had a handful of people in here. They were just kind of like lurking around. So, Sheflex, thank you for popping in and letting us know what you thought.
Definitely.
And speaking of thoughts, let's go ahead and wrap this up and give our final thoughts on season 2. Whoever wants to pop in first.
A++++.
Oh, there he was. He was doing the A grade. I was going to do the number to 5, and I was going to say 5. I give it a 5, definitely.
You know what? I am going to sit and give 5 stars as well. I know that I kind of talked and said, I kind of worry about it just being so much about misunderstandings. But you know what? Damn it! The more and more that we talked about it, I really thought it through, and it's a fantastic. I mean, obviously, it's a fantastic continuation from season 1. To me, they almost don't even feel like seasons, if that makes sense. Because
no, it's just like one big story.
Yeah, because I watched that first episode because I didn't have time to watch any more that night, and then the next night I got off of work early enough. I'm like, I'm just gonna watch the rest of this. I have to. I think it took about 4 or 5 hours, but damn it, like I finished it. It's worth everyone's time. I can't stress this enough. Just do the trial. Sign up for premium. Do the trial. Check it. At least check it out, and then watch your other YouTube stuff and be like, fuck, man, there's not ads anymore. This is great. And then you just let it keep rolling, like Tyler and I did. Joe, get on top of that.
Yeah. I'll try, eventually. But no, it is worth it. If you got the money, definitely do it.
Look at him how he's just like looking at his brass knuckles.
I'm going to beat the shit out of these guys here. They keep calling out for not spending $10.
No, hell, if you do have the money.
Send these guys to show up at our house.
All wearing masks. Right, all having masks, all having the brass knuckles, having a little sack of just rotten food off to the side that they ate that they probably found in your garbage cans. Tyler, how the fuck did Tyler not finish this chicken? Like, didn't I just throw that shit away? That would be me. I'd
like
be the
Yoda
person.
Empire Strikes Back digging through Luke's stuff. Joe's outside my tent. And he finds pizza and he starts giggling,
That'd be me, goddammit. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
Joe, we
Get
need to
Joe scoot.
we need to get Joe the Lucha mask.
Yeah, we will. We'll get that eventually. I made my holes a little bit bigger in my eyes so I could see a little bit better. But
you know what? I'm just gonna reach out to somebody. I'll be like, "How much does this cost?" All right, whatever.
Yeah, because I know you guys seen something. I don't know if you've seen something kept falling. I have to take a piece of tissue and stick it up my mask around my cheekbone, and it keeps the one eye hole off my eyeball. So oh god, the shit I do.
Yeah,
so,
the shit.
Well, how you want to wrap it up, Nick?
Well, thanks again to you guys that popped in, and thanks to Fedmon and Sheflex for showing up in the chat and telling us what you thought. I want to recommend anyone that's new to the channel, please hit subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when we go live for Beyond Retro Podcast, capes and commentaries, or when I go live for the drunk video game shit. Check out all the links down below. You can download us on Podbean and iTunes. And I want to encourage those guys that listen to us on there, come on over to YouTube, give us a subscribe, support the channel. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below and let us know your thoughts on Cobra Kai. If you thought it sucked, if you thought it was great, and your ideas for Season 3. I want to recommend to check out Fans of Power, the He-Man and the Master Universe podcast hosted by Joe Amato, Tyler Baker, and myself. You can find that at youtube.com/fanspowerpodcast. Buy Joe's t-shirts. Hit him up for a custom. I think we're done here.
Yeah.
You did good.
That's probably the best outro I've ever done. I was confident.
I was proud of you. It was
yeah,
nice
I'm surprised Tyler didn't interrupt it. And it's like, oh, did you just forget everything?
Well, when you don't make it obvious that you did forget something, then I'll have anything to say.
I mean, dude, when was the last time we did a 3-person Beyond Retro episode?
Probably January.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it has been a while, hasn't it?
We need to find more things like this that the three of us can sit and discuss. Because
no more Last Dragon stuff like that. I can't. You know, I can't do that.
Well,
I just had to do it.
With that said, Joe's gonna punch some people. Tyler's gotta work out and make his arms bigger, and I gotta go figure out how Emily's doing in the garden. So until then,
she's asleep in the bed,
probably
in the garden bed. Just
yeah, she's not narcoleptic, but that would be kind of amusing. Anyway,
that's the image I have of her. The way you talk about it all the time. I told Nathan to take multiple pictures of her like sleeping, like on the couch, in the car.
Dude, every time that we watch a movie or anything and she falls asleep, I have an entire album on my phone dedicated to that. So one day, I think I got like 30 or 40 of just the same thing. I'm sitting there with my drink, like making a picture, and she's not. They will
piss
go
her off if you do that. You better watch it.
I guess we'll see.
Didn't your mom make a Christmas ornament of her sleeping?
Yes. Yeah. We took one of the pictures of her sleeping. I'm like, Mom, can you make this into a crate? She's like, yeah, absolutely. She's like, I mean, you let her know that this was your decision, and I just went along with it. I'm like, that's fine.
Now we have to see the ornament. Make sure you do that and post it up in somewhere in one of the groups. We got to see this goddamn ornament now.
All right. Yeah, we'll figure something out. But until then, we hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you in the future to talk about the past. Thanks again. See you next time.